Today, I'm bringing to you my home inspector that I totally trust and am very confident about for all of my clients. So I thought I'm going to share him with all of you. And so that way you can hear a little bit about what happens at a home inspection, might raise some questions, and you've got Don's information. If you need to call him, you're welcome to do that. So welcome, Don Thorne with Pillar to Post. Thank you for joining us, Don. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me this evening, Christine. I greatly appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So overall, Don, you do home inspections for my buyers, and, going into a home inspection, what should they be expecting to get out of it in general, big picture?
Big picture, basically a better understanding of the infrastructure of the house. So basically the main components of the house, whether it be the exterior, the roof, the chimney, the appliances, the mechanicals, meaning furnace, water heater, that sort of stuff.
Okay, cool. So you're there, you arrive, what are you doing on the outside? What kind of, what are you going to do for them inspecting the outside of the home? And then the same as far as the inside. And I'll give an example, like, everyone wants to know, how's the roof? How's the roof? Are you going to be standing at the street with binoculars, or are you getting closer up front on the roof? And what limitations do you have?
Well, basically what we're doing for the exterior portion of the house, and you'll find that we spend anywhere between 15 minutes to 45 minutes on the exterior, depending on the size of the home itself. But what we're looking for is areas that will have water. And that's no different than inside. I'm looking for the same thing. But exterior wise, I'm looking for safety things, railings, rotted wood, that kind of stuff down low. I'm looking for the gutters. Are they level? Are they angled, pitched towards the downspouts? Because 90% of all basement issues start outside, and they start at the downspout or the gutters, and that's the reason for that. So I help look and find those areas where people just glance over because they think, oh, a rainstorm comes, it comes down the gutter and it's gone. Well, it's not if things aren't aligned properly and have proper pitches and lengths away from the house. That can cause danger. Not danger, but it'll cause water issues down the road. It could.
That's a good point, because most people, thinking about roofs are just thinking about the actual roof, and they're not thinking about the gutters and what's happening from there down to the ground and foundation. Are you able to go up on the roof and check the roof out, or do you just do the binoculars and take pictures?
Well, you can speak to this. I would say I go up on roofs probably 90% of the time. I prefer to get up on the roofs because I can see more. I can see damage to chimneys. I can see damage to skylights from the outside, which is important because if it's an older roof and the flashing wasn't done properly, not only can I see that from up top, but I can also see that from down inside. I'm checking the vent caps. I'm checking the ridge caps. I'm looking for possible hail damage. I'm looking for various amounts of things. If there are shingles missing, or if shingles have slid slightly because of improper installations. If a windstorm is coming, there's a couple sheets that are missing or tabs that are missing, I document that. So me being able to get up on the roof, whether it's a single story or a double story, really helps the customer. And that's basically where I find my job is I'm here to service the customer.
Yeah.
Your client.
So you're able to see, since you're getting up there, you have a better chance, at least, and not a guarantee, that you can see if it was a tear-off roof, how many layers, things like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
We'll always want to know.
As I go up the ladder, I stop right at the edge and lift it slightly to see if I can see the layers and that kind of stuff. Also, if it is snowing or rain or really windy out, we don't get on the roofs. We do not do anything that's going to put us in danger.
Of course.
This is our livelihood. So in those instances, Yes, occasionally I will get on a roof when it's wet, but I know it's just wet. It's not slippery.
Yeah.
There's certain materials such as asphalt shingles that you can kind of walk on if they're wet, but if it's a wood cedar shake shingle, they're slippery, and
Yeah.
I would not walk on that.
Well, we need you, Don, so I'm not going to have you do anything dangerous for my clients.
Of course not, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So that's where I would bring out the binoculars, do a distance walk, look close with the binoculars, take as many pictures as I can, and document to the best of my abilities.
Yeah.
And document that that's a limitation, and that's what we have to put in the report.
Yeah. Going inside, you're obviously going to be spending a lot of time inside, and you check the main power panels, you open that up. I see you open up furnace panels and all of that. But sometimes things are kind of hard to assess visually. Do you have any special tools you use in order to get a better understanding of how the furnace is performing? Or, hey, the basement is finished and has drywall, and I may have a client that's concerned about, is there any water happening in the basement? What can you do for them?
We do have some tools that help us non-visually, so to speak, look behind drywall, and that's what we use our infrared inspection tools for. Most of them will call them infrared cameras. Some are better than others, but this will help us see if there is leaking going on in basements or even in ceilings. We have been known to find leaks in the ceilings on regular, just two-story buildings and so forth. So yes, we do have certain tools and water meters, to test for that. And we have to double test when we use our infrared guns to verify. So it's a secondary test as well. So.
Now, another thing that can come up in our attics, owners are never in attics. They're never aware of what's happening up there. I won't say never, because it's not the right word to use, but it's rare that an owner is aware of the attic and the conditions in there. And so that's very important for buyers to have you, Don, that you're willing to put on the gear and get in there and look at all that nasty space. But if you come out and tell my clients, well, there's some discoloration, are you able to call it mold? And if there's a suspect of that happening, I'm losing you there, but I'm going to keep talking, hoping you come back in. What are you able to do for the client if there's suspect of mold in the attic? So Don, talking about the attic, a lot of owners don't even think about it, and buyers are always a little anxious about that. And let's say you go up there and I'm going to start over. I forgot I have this light on me. Sorry.
All right.
So Don, talking about the attic, I know buyers are always a little anxious about it, and sometimes it's, maybe a surprise if you find discoloration there, at least to our clients. And if there is discoloration in there, to all of you listening, we're not allowed to call it mold because, Don, you're not certified as a mold specialist, right?
Correct. I am what they call a mold technician.
Right. So since Don is not a mold technician, you'll never hear him or another inspector saying, I found mold in the attic. But if you see discoloration, what can you do for your client that's there?
Well, me being considered a mold technician, what we can do is I can take what they call a tape test, a swab test,
okay,
or I can take an air test. And all three of those are just slightly different. But basically what it is I have a third-party fungal laboratory that analyzes all the samples that I bring them and everybody others. So they put together a nice report for our clients to look at, to see what types of mold in there, what quantities are in there. And basically what this does is this lets them decide if they want to take it to the next level. And that next level would be mitigation from another professional mold mitigation company.
Right.
To take a look at further.
Yeah, which I can help with on that recommendation.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's good to know that. So you've got, sounds like, inspectors have lots of other gadgets. They should at least. So
Mhm.
that way, should things come up right there on Johnny on the spot, you can whip out another tool and dig a little deeper on some red flags that may come up during the inspection.
That is correct.
Awesome. Awesome. So when you finish the inspection, what do you provide to the buyer for them to take away with them?
Well, obviously the number one thing is the report. I guarantee that it'll be back to them within 24 to 48 hours, depending on timing of year. Obviously we have little, what they call roller coaster times of the year when business gets really, really crazy. I happen to be a one-man show. Some other companies in the area have multiple inspectors, so they can tend to get it to you a little bit quicker, but we do our best to get them out within 24 hours. But what we like to pride ourselves in is we give a nice little binder book. And basically, I call it a place for the clients to put all their closing information in. And this book is really nice because it has elements in it that will help them throughout their ownership of this house. There's a nice piece in it that has a residential construction guide. It'll tell them approximately what things might cost to replace in the home. So if some things go bad in 10, 15 years or whatever, it will tell them, because I tell them in the report approximately how old the roof might be. So if it might be 15 years old, it'll tell them approximately how old a roof lasts. So most roofs last between 20 to 25 years if they're asphalt shingles. So it helps the clients judge or be prepared to budget down the road what things might cost them.
Yeah.
So that's very helpful tools.
Now, during the inspection, can they be there? Can they follow you around and all of that good stuff?
Absolutely. And we prefer that because I'm not just an inspector. I consider myself a teacher. We try to help our clients and our new clients understand what they're getting into. This is 9 times out of 10, this is their number one largest purchase that they've made to that point.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're there to kind of be a teacher and explain how to put the filter in the furnace, what's the wire over here for, what's, maintaining the home. And so that way they can understand all the mechanicals and everything in the home. Because I work with first-time buyers, and this is all new to them. They don't understand any of it. So yeah, I tell them that too. It's not, home inspections aren't just about, oh, let's find out what's wrong with the house and tell the seller we want repairs, but also get an education on the house. Understand what you're buying so you know how to use it, work it, maintain it, right?
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely correct. Because there's certain things in the house that they may not even know they have, like an attic fan, for instance. Most of them don't go up in the attic.
Or
they don't know whether it works or if it doesn't work.
Right, exactly.
So it's just little tips, little tricks of the trade that we can show them and help them and make them more knowledgeable out, because they happen to have an attic fan that might make that roof extend another 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
well, I remember I had a client where they couldn't make the home inspection, and then they called me several months later. We moved into a new season, and he called saying, oh my God, what's happening to my hardwood floors? There's all these gaps between the hardwood floor planks. So what's happening? What's my floor? It's falling apart. And I said, did you change the thermometer, the thermometer, I'll call it, or the thermostat? Thermostat on your home humidifier, on your furnace. He's like, what's that?
Yeah.
And I had
a lot of people.
That to him. I'm like, if he was at the home inspection, you would be there to tell him, these.
Exactly, and we walk them through that. And a lot of people, especially new buyers, but even buyers from before, if they're coming maybe from a city in the condo rental parts or an apartment, and they're coming out to the suburbs and they buy another townhome, or they buy a single family dwelling that might be 2 or 3 floors, elevations. We can help them understand that process.
Yeah. one thing I wanted to ask you, because, you know, HVAC and windows and all that, the big ticket items, those are always the biggest concerns with buyers as far as health and longevity. So
Sure.
a lot of times the sellers may say, well, I've only lived here 3 or 4 years and we never had to change the furnace. And so they may not know the year of the furnace. Do you have a way of looking at the furnace and knowing approximately what year, maybe not installed, but at least manufactured?
Yes, basically we look in most appliances, you'll find they all have, whether it's a refrigerator, an oven, a microwave, they all have manufacturers' plaques on them. Some are stickers, some are plaques. And if you are able to read them and take the serial numbers off of them, you can get date codes through that system. So we either Google it or we know where to look for them. Some of them have the date code right on it, and that will give you when it was manufactured. We can't tell you when it was installed, but at least we can give you a starting point of when it was made. And generally, based on how old the house is, we can adjust and get pretty close, so an approximate range for you. And that'll give you a general idea of approximately how long that piece of equipment should last.
Yeah, awesome. Are there certain things you are not allowed to inspect in a home?
Yes. And for instance, a lot of people get upset with us because we don't inspect, say, the air conditioner unit in the wintertime. There are some locations, obviously, that winter it doesn't go below 65 if you live in California or Texas or even Florida, but at times it does get cold down there, and then we're not really supposed to take a look at it and turn it on because we can damage certain units, such as the air conditioner.
How long does it have to be below a certain temperature that you said, I'm not comfortable turning this on, I don't want to create damage to the unit?
Well, I pretty much go with the 12-hour. If it hasn't been below it in 12 hours, I don't want to run it.
So 65 degrees or below for 12 hours or more, you're not comfortable turning on an AC unit. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, that's just what I've been educated on. And I mean, there's some guys out there who will go 60. Some guys think it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, until you break one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you
then
talk,
it's a big deal.
now you bringing up, you know, about things breaking, possibly it could happen during a home inspection. Should buyers be thinking about let's say they want to find their inspector all on their own, they're working on their own. What should they be thinking about when they're hiring an inspector to be sure they're not going to be stuck with a huge bill if something broke during the inspection?
Well, you want to make sure that they have what they call E&O insurance. You got to make sure they're insured. You need to make sure that they've been schooled properly. Make sure they have a license. You can go to, I believe it's the FDRP, and go online, and that's our governmental agency here in the state of Illinois. They're different throughout the United States. Some states, believe it or not, there are no laws. You don't have to have a certificate to be a home inspector. But here in the state of Illinois, you do. We have to go through 80 hours of classroom experience, textbooks, and 20 hours of outside experience, as well as we get educated. We have what they call continuing education classes that we have to comply with. Every 2 years, we have to have, I believe it's 12 hours of classroom testing.
You mentioned the E&O. Is that an insurance so that way if something did break and you know, Murphy's Law, you know, yeah,
it is Murphy's Law, but this is something more, this isn't for, oh, I broke a pot. This is for something like, let's say I turned on the air conditioner and it was 60 degrees, and I'm just using that as a baseline.
Yeah.
And it happened not to work come the following season.
Uh-huh.
Well, I can't say whether or not it was. We'd probably get an engineer involved and see what happened. but it's to help on large claims. It's not to say, oh, this stair is 10 inches versus 12 inches.
Of course.
It's for safety items, just like what I'm there for you guys, is for safety and health items.
Yeah.
If God forbid I miss something, but obviously with my glasses, it helps. But anyway, that's another question you had was, do you like them to follow you around? More eyes, the better. We're not perfect. And believe it or not, we're generalists. We're not specialists.
Yeah.
I'm a specialist in the entire house project. I'm not an individual HVAC contractor. I'm not a mold contractor.
Right.
I'm not a flooring contractor.
Yeah.
I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a roofer.
So
I know a lot about that.
Yeah.
Generally.
So when you see things come up, do you usually say you recommend calling a plumber, calling an HVAC specialist to investigate it further if you see red flags? Okay, well, awesome. Well, Don, I appreciate your help. You've been very helpful. Well, plethora of information.
Well, good. I'm glad I could assist, and hopefully I helped educate your clients.
Yeah, so if somebody has an additional question, I'll have them give you a call. I'll have them give you a call there. And they can reach out to you, email or text you, because we're providing your information. So I appreciate you being available. And, you know, I'll be working with you real soon again. As always.
All right.
Yeah, it's
sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I've known Don for years. He's awesome, super reliable, and Johnny on the spot, helping clients right there at the inspection when things come up. You always got your mold kit ready to go. I always love that. And I'm sure you all may have questions. Maybe Don raised questions. Call Don or me. Be sure to like and share this video for anyone you know that may have questions about home inspections, and this might help them out a little bit. We hope we've been helpful to all of you watching, and be sure to share it and so more people can get information. You guys all have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.